This is a follow-up to my earlier recording. It's still October 14th, Thursday. It's 11:30 a.m. Heading out to do a move-out inspection. Only a minimal portion of my mind, thought process, concentration, focus is on property management right now. I am heavily absorbed into my spiritual side, philosophical side, to them, and then wave your hand at the driver, and then pass them, and get on the bumper of the car in front of you, and do the exact same thing. Ignorant. This is the type of thing that I am frustrated with humanity. Fucking stupid. Really fucking stupid. Anyway, sidetracked. So I've been stuck on this butterfly analogy, and so I went back to the office after I finished up what I was doing a little bit ago and made my recording and finished doing what I was doing at the house, and just sat down and typed up the idea, the thought, and I was like, you know what, I just want something, just something I can put out there, and but it's to a certain extent, it's me asking for advice. So I typed this up, I went to the blog, and I cut and pasted it in there and posted it. I feel like I accomplished something. I feel like I reached out again. I feel like I took another step, even though it is extremely subtle. Now in my mind, I'm thinking later on, when I'm not on the clock and I guilt-free get on Facebook and maybe share something, I think I'm going to try to post and share that and see what kind of response I would get. Now this is, again, would be the second time I've ever done it. I did it with my Metamorphosis Complete essay that I wrote about transformation and becoming who I am, which is very similar to what I've got going on now. So it's consistent, I guess, but so it would be a huge step if I did that. I'm not sure if I will follow through on it, but right now that's what's getting me through these moments, is that idea, that thought, and sometimes that's all it takes, is some type of an idea to hang on to focus on, to get you through a period that you may be struggling with. So that's where I am with that. This car is going extremely slow. So it's part of a process, and what I'm trying to do is, again, I'm trying to work up the nerve, I'm trying to determine whether it's going to be best. What I'm trying to decide is whether or not to reveal myself, and this is part of this whole butterfly analogy. And this is the question that I've had, and the thing that I've been struggling with, is that once you made the change, once you exposed the change, once you displayed who you are, what you've become, you have to embrace that. You cannot go back to pretending, or go back to what you were, and you cannot pretend or mask that you are what you used to be. So what I feel like right now, my pivotal choice that I have to make is, one, continue to masquerade as average, and hope that my repetitive struggle through day-to-day life in mimicking what other people may be going through to be able to convey a stronger message. I keep reverting back. I've been stuck on these certain ideas, certain topics that just get stuck in my head, and they're usually, again, some type of context, some type of reference me to communicate what I am going through. And for the last couple of days, I've felt like Groundhog Day, the movie Groundhog Day. I feel like I've been stuck doing the same thing every day, over and over and over and over. And I've seen that movie dozens of times. I love it. I absolutely love that movie. And I mean, there's a strong hidden truth to that movie. And it comes down to evolution of the individual and the ability to know yourself and achieve happiness. So I feel like I've been, even though the details of my days are different, it's not like I'm seeing the exact same thing, but in a vague generalistic sense, I'm going through the same types of emotions on a daily basis, the same types of experiences on a daily basis. And I'm processing them, I'm dealing with them, and I'm documenting it. I'm making recordings, I'm writing essays, I'm doing what I can, and that fucking sucks. So the fucking road that I need to get on to get to the property that I'm supposed to be going to is closed. So, with this temporary detour of mine, I'm just going to sit and finish what I'm talking about. It's been intentional. I've put myself in this position to go through these things on a daily basis, to have these interactions with individuals, to experience the world as it's playing out around me, and explain how it's having an effect on me and what I'm doing to adjust to, accommodate, embrace the effects, and my attempt to affect change. And it feels like it's a burden. It feels like something that I'm carrying around every single day, that I'm having to go through this, and it's getting frustrating. It's getting tiresome, and at some point I will have to just wake up and it'll be a new day, much like the movie, and I will have made myself and hopefully the world a better place, better person through what I have done. So this is where I'm at. I can continue to go through this metamorphosis stage, or leading right up to the very point of revealing a beautiful butterfly and showing the world my colors and making an impact with the beauty that I have become. Or I continue to fight the good fight and battle the daily struggle, so that every day new annoying circumstances can cause me angst and frustration, or joy and happiness, and I can share that and people can relate to that. But at some point it just seems redundant how many the equitable trade, what I'm getting and providing for what I'm experiencing, just to me it just seems like it's not the highest and best use any longer. And maybe it was at the time, and maybe it still is, and maybe it's only my perception and perspective that's got it skewed in my mind. But my choice now is to, because I'm there, I'm at that pinnacle, and I think when I get like this, when I get to the state that I'm in now, where I'm starting to feel anger and frustration and contempt for the world around me, it's because I've hit that point, and now I have to, in this cycle, let it finish out and start all over again, or complete the change. And everything inside of me is yearning to make that change, to evolve into that being that I will eventually be. And I'm holding on to maybe some outdated concepts, some outdated ideologies, that pursuing the path repetitively only to reach the end and not cross the line, just to go back and start over again, so that I can continue to show how to deal with those things that you deal with on a daily basis. And there are people that are going to live this entire life and never get past this point. It's just not in their evolutionary cycle. It's not who they are. But I'm starting to emotionally feel that it might be time to cross that line and become who I am intended to be. I feel like over the last several months I've left behind a pretty vivid, detailed compilation of imagery of what I've done and how I've done it. And I'm not going to lose that. That's the thing that's key to remember. Even transitioning, you are still the caterpillar. You still have everything, the memory of everything it took to get there, and I can still convey that to others. I just feel like it had more impact firsthand. So to be able to move on, to be able to become that new self, again, not only do I have to embrace that, and I won't be able to hide it, I won't be able to revert back. I have to own it, and I have to present it, and I have to display that. And right now it's running like on a loop in my head, and I feel like I'm just talking in circles around it because I'm missing the point. And every time I start to speak thinking that I'm hitting that mark, I miss it. So I'm basically saying the same thing over and over again. But anyway, so that's where I'm at, and I've already taken some steps. I put that out there, and I went with the hashtag labeling system so that it may be something that somebody would stumble across easier, because everything I've done so far with these videos, with the blog, with essays, with anything that I've put out there, I've done it in such a way that it's so vague and so obscure that even if you were looking for it, you wouldn't be able to find it. And even if you found it, it doesn't have any shine to it. If you were drawn to it, you would either not see it or disregard it. And it was intentional. It's been intentional. I have now over 100 YouTube videos posted. They're out there. They're public. And for the most part, with the exception of me opening them up and occasionally looking at one to make sure that it's there, and Rhonda having come across a couple of them just out of curiosity and viewed them, nobody's ever seen them. They have no views. And it's intentional. They're coded. The titles are coded. The imagery that is on the picture is me sitting in my car on pretty much every one of them, except for a couple that I did at home or in alternate locations. But this is it. This is what you see: a picture of me in a car with some kind of vague numbered title, and there's repetitive. They're almost every one of them are labeled just status, which is intentional. I want them to be hidden. I don't even remember what's on what recording on what days, and again, that's intentional. I've basically left a trail of breadcrumbs. I've left clues. There are secrets that are hidden in those recordings. There are information that can help anybody, but you got to sort through it all. I made it tricky. I'm not just handing anybody anything, which has never been my intent. But now I have to embrace who I am, what I am, and my purpose. And I don't have to embrace it, but I have to share it. And to me, it's been a battle of not becoming egotistical. It's an interior struggle to not give in to ego. I don't want to boast. I don't want to brag. I don't want to make myself out to be better than anybody. But I'm definitely different. And I have a way and an ability to see things that in my experience I've never met anybody that can see the way I see it, and then I have a struggle with converting that and conveying that. But I've gotten to that point now where I've gotten better. I mean, not just better, but I feel like I'm competent now in my ability to convert and convey the generalized idea and some of the details. And I don't feel like I can hide anymore. I don't feel like one, that I can, and two, I don't feel like I should. I feel like it's the time has come, and it's going to upset some people. I'm here to rock the boat a little bit. I'm here to show a way, and it's a way of balance. It's a way of compromise. It's a way of seeing everything in its entirety and accepting and understanding it. And that's gonna rub people the wrong way. I am a spiritualist, 100%. I am a philosopher, 100%. And there are spiritualists and philosophers all over this planet. I am also a warrior. My desire to fight every step of the way drives me and motivates me. And there are warriors all over the planet. I am an artist. I am a creator. Again, all over the planet. I am extremely loving and have that capacity. Again, there are people all over the planet. But I am also extremely vindictive. And I carry equal amounts of rage and anger to balance out that loving side. And I am right in the middle, and I have that capacity to extend both. I am extremely vulgar and offensive. I enjoy it, which is contradictory to what most spiritualists and philosophers would consider to be conducive to what they're doing. I am that balance. I am that point in the center. I have to say I'm curious to see where this goes in the next couple of days, because this is an extremely unusual circumstance for me right now where I'm at, because in this cycle of me going through that evolutionary period and then hitting that point where I can convert, shift, metamorphosize into my intended self, and never crossing that line and going back and starting over. And I've been through it, and right now I can see it and I can feel it with clarity in my mind. I can see and feel all those times that I've done it. I can, the emotions, the physical feelings that I'm feeling now in my body are familiar. I've been here before. I've done this before. And I didn't understand it until now, but I had dreamt all night about being in situations that seemed unusual, seemed out of character, but seemed familiar. And it was my mind reminding me that I've done all this before. I've been through it. And I know that eventually, in the next couple of days, things will fade. I will go to sleep one night. I'll have a decent night's sleep. I may have some interesting or pleasurable, joyous dreams, but I'll wake up and I'll feel clear and I'll feel good, and I feel like I'm ready to fight. That I'm ready to fight to become who I'm going to be. And it's basically, that's the point where I've gone back to the beginning and I'm starting over again. I'm starting that cycle over again, and it's that end of one cycle, beginning of a new cycle without leaving that cycle. And that's where I'm curious, because in a couple of days I'll be in Hawaii, which is exciting and pivotal in my existence. How many people get to travel to Hawaii? And it's just one of those things. It's pivotal. But my 45th birthday is a week from today. That is also pivotal. My birthday is always a very powerful point in my cycles, no matter what. But right now I've got several cycles cycling to a transitional period all at the same time, and I don't know, can't think of any other time in my life where I've had this many factors coming together, this many cycles transitioning simultaneously. And I'm curious, really curious to see what kind of changes there are, or if I wake up a week from now and continue down the same cycle again. But I'm going to do my best to be mindful of my situation, where I'm at, aware of my surroundings and aware of what's going on, and hopefully aware of communication, which I have a tendency to block out and miss, because I become so self-absorbed in my own mind that I miss that stuff. So I am somewhat anxious, somewhat excited, somewhat scared. And uncertain.